from the atrocities committed in the name of God. More changes would come in the next 100 years that affected the transition to the development of the Christian religion. The murder of Hypatia, a renowned scholar and philosopher, in 415 marked a significant turning point in the history of the Library of Alexandria and the emerging power of Christianity in ancient times. Hypatia, a brilliant mathematician and astronomer, was a prominent figure in the intellectual circles of Alexandria, a city known for its rich tradition of learning. Her brutal assassination at the hands of a Christian mob is often seen as a tragic example of the destructive forces of religious fanaticism and political power. She was a woman with an influence in Roman society. According to the Greek City Times, Hypatia was a woman of intelligence and accomplishment, something quite unusual for women of the time. A woman like Hypatia was greatly feared by many in Alexandria. Because of this and the fact that she believed in paganism, many accused her of worshiping Satan. She had to be silenced for good. A magistrate named Peter the Lector gathered his fellow religious zealots and hunted her down as she was leaving a lecture at the university. They ripped her from her carriage and proceeded to tear her clothes, pulling her along by her hair through the streets of the city. The group then dragged her into a nearby church, where they stripped her and grabbed whatever they could find to destroy her. In this case, the roofing tiles and oyster shells lay around the freshly constructed building. With them, they tore her flesh from her body, skinning her alive in the name of all Christendom. Her remains were then ripped apart and burned at the altar, all in the name of God. I can't imagine the pain from scraping and digging with clams and broken roofing tiles. At what point would her loss of blood cause the exit of her spirit and relief from pain? At some point, they began to tear out the organs of her body. Was she still alive? We have already touched on the death and exile of non-believers. Was this the first atrocity, or was this just a continuing path to the cruelty of the first Christians? The rise of Christianity as the dominant religion in the Roman Empire led to a growing suspicion of classical learning and the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake. The library, which had housed countless volumes of ancient texts and manuscripts, became a target for those who saw it as a symbol of pagan learning and heresy. Hypatia's murder, carried out by a mob incited by religious and political motives, sent shockwaves through the intellectual community of Alexandria and beyond. Her death was not only a personal tragedy, but also a stark warning of the dangers of intolerance and ignorance. The suppression of intellectual freedom and the destruction of knowledge that followed in the wake of her murder had far-reaching consequences for the development of science, philosophy, and culture in the ancient world. We need to note that Hypatia was a woman who stood out, and her death would be copied in the deaths of many women in future Christian history. The merging of religious and political power in late antiquity created a climate of fear and censorship that stifled creativity and innovation. The murder of Hypatia, a scholar who embodied the spirit of inquiry and critical thinking, was a grim reminder of the dangers of dogma and fanaticism. The loss of Hypatia, a brilliant mind and a fearless advocate for reason and truth, deprived the world of her unique insights and contributions. The destruction of the Library of Alexandria, a repository of ancient wisdom and knowledge, set back the progress of human civilization for centuries. In the broader historical context, the murder of Hypatia and the decline of the Library of Alexandria are emblematic of the larger struggles between reason and superstition, enlightenment and ignorance. The legacy of this tragedy continues to resonate in the modern world, serving as a stark reminder of the dangers of intolerance and the importance of defending intellectual freedom. They serve as cautionary tales of the dangers of religious fanaticism and political oppression, and as reminders of the enduring value of knowledge, reason, and freedom. In order for the state to have control over the establishment of Christianity as a state religion, the use of inquisitors by the Roman state was utilized as a key method of exerting control over the church during the medieval period. By appointing inquisitors to root out and punish heretics, the Roman state sought to maintain control over religious doctrine and ensure conformity among its subjects.